Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fortitude Training Podcast. This is your host, Coach Ren, back with another episode for you. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that I've been wanting to put on this podcast for quite a while now, and that is the topic. It's a hot one in our society right now about mental health. In particular, we're going to be talking about depression, anxiety, and with my guest here, Emily Cook, we're going to be talking about our own personal experiences with it and how training, physical activity, good nutrition, and things like that have really helped us cope with our own struggles. So, Emily, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ron. I'm happy to be here today.
Good to see you. Yeah. So we've been colleagues in the past, and we worked together a bit. And you've been a personal trainer for how long now?
Almost 5 years now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so how did you get your start? Just give everybody a little bit of background on yourself.
I was always an athlete in high school. I ran and I wrestled. And so when I decided what I wanted to do when I went to college, studying exercise science made a lot of sense. Went to UVM, did that. And honestly, it started out as one of those kind of part-time job gigs where I decided, being a group fitness instructor, that would be cool. So I got my certification. And then the rest of that story will tie into more of our mental health topic. But basically, I started teaching one class a week, turned into 6, turned into 12, turned into personal training, so on and so forth. And after I graduated, I just never stopped, and I'm still here.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you've been around for a while now, and you've built up a good following yourself, and you're pretty active on social media as well. And you've openly shared some of your struggles with mental health. And we actually, a little over a year ago, you and I ran a charity workout event where we actually raised money for NAMI Vermont, which is a great organization if you have a chance to check it out. And so we actually shared a bit of our story on the news, which was pretty cool, and thanks to you. And so that was pretty big. I don't know about you, but when people had seen me on the news and everything and sharing that story, they were really impressed or just, I don't know, I guess impressed is the right word, that I would share some personal stuff like that. Did you have that same experience?
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of people that reached out, even from my hometown, because I guess they pick up our news stations over in New Hampshire, and they wrote to me, I had no idea. Wow. Wow. And so I think it really got to the point where the event was called Strength Against Stigma. And so here was that stigma against, these personal trainers have mental health issues? What?
Yeah.
And so a lot of that too.
Yeah, so oftentimes there might be this perception that these personal trainers or like these fitness enthusiasts or whatnot have everything figured out. They got their lives figured out, their family's perfect, their fitness and health is perfect, but here they are kind of spilling their guts, so to speak, on their own struggles. And so that can be kind of, I don't know, maybe eye-opening. I don't know if anybody thinks of me as perfect. I certainly hope not. Because I think we all have our struggles, but I think that was probably helpful for a lot of people. So hopefully we can spread a little more awareness and help break down that stigma again today.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So now, so you kind of mentioned, you kind of skipped over your story with the mental health stuff. So when was it when did it start for you where you really started to notice, hey, I'm something's not quite right. I'm struggling here more than others.
I think growing up, I always had a bit of social anxiety, but I never was able to put my finger on what anxiety was. But I had a difficult time fitting in with my classmates, speaking out. I was voted shyest in my yearbook growing up. And then I just turned to athletics, and I found a place where I belonged. And that was all well and good until my senior year of high school. I just started to find that I was going through the motions. I would go to practices, go home, get in my bed, sleep. And my mom was the one who kind of noticed, wow, something is wrong here. And at first it was, is it because so-and-so moved or whatever it was? And no, the problem still persisted. And that's when I went to a doctor, and they said that I had clinical depression and anxiety. That was the first time I guess I knew I had something. So not until I was a senior in high school. But
okay, so So senior in high school, and that's where it kind of all started. At least the recognition that there was something a little off with that.
Yeah. And then when I went to college, so senior year into high school into college, I had been put on medication. And it just seemed like the medication for depression would make my anxiety worse, or the medication for anxiety would make my depression worse. And so I think one day I just decided, I'm not going to refill my prescription. I don't want to do that. And so I really turned then to exercise as I had before, and healthy eating and all these things I was learning about in school. And I really felt like I was managing this well. I was like, oh, I'm doing well. Like, I don't feel anxious. I don't feel depressed. Meanwhile, I still had that social anxiety kind of going on that I was pushing off to the side of, oh, I'm just too busy to have friends. But, yeah, it crept up on me again when I was a junior in college. And that's when, flash back to the story I mentioned when I got my group fitness certification. I was a junior in college, and I had gotten the certification. I was ready to go. Had a terrible summer into a terrible fall, a lot of financial issues, a lot of personal issues, and I was just down. I was so depressed. I couldn't really sleep alone. I was having panic attacks in public places. I was using a suicide text line. It was a really dark place in my life. And then flash forward to the spring, a friend of mine had stayed with me, and she was a group fitness instructor. And she kind of sat down and she said, Emily, you are applying for this job to teach classes. I don't care if you don't want to. You're doing it. So I did. Got called in for an interview, went in, did the demo class. Everything went well. And then, of course, the first class I ever taught was Thursday mornings at 5:45 a.m., hence why I do that every day since then. But I remember the crazy thing is I taught that class, and then after that, knock on wood right now, I have not had trouble sleeping at night since then. Like, it's not like it went away per se overnight, but after starting training and starting teaching, I could live again. And it was, just as simple as that.
Wow, no kidding. So now taking this dive into this industry, which from what I can tell is widely dominated by extroverts, people that are really social and can create connections and relationships with people easily. So you dive into an industry like that, and now from there you've steadily become more outspoken, more, I guess, extroverted, or just more social than you were. Because, I mean, from what I can see, I see your social media posts quite often. You're like on film, dancing around. You got your little guinea pig, and you're like, doing all these cool things. And so you've really come quite a ways, it seems, from where you were then.
Yeah, I think when I first started, what got me into it and through it at the beginning was just having that purpose that's bigger than myself, and that was super important to me, and I really latched on to that. But then as far as how I've grown over the last 5 years, I guess from sharing my story, that has helped a lot for people to understand that we're all human and feeling like other people understand me. But then just kind of not caring what people think as much.
Yep.
Because my health and happiness was more important than having more followers or likes on Instagram, which I don't post those funny things for. Honestly, when they tell me how many views I have on some of my reels, I'm pretty sure half of them are from me. Like, it'll say, oh, you had 1,000 views on this reel. And it'll be like me just watching it every day at lunch, like, I'm such a great dancer.
I find myself very amusing too, so I tend to watch my own. So it's probably there's probably similar numbers with mine. I don't look at it as much as I should. Maybe you can help me out with that, but that's great. So I've had my own struggles as well, and I'll share a little bit of that too, because I definitely growing up, maybe around the same age, maybe a little older. I think it was more for me when I was in college, because I thought I had things figured out. I was, I'd kind of gone out on my own, and I was in school, but I wasn't living at home or anything, and I was, really proud of that. But later on in college, like just before I left, actually, I had quite a last semester. I actually took an extra semester to finish my degree. I went a little slower with my class load and all that. But I'll tell you, that was probably the most important semester of my college experience, because I was taking, I was just taking some classes that I needed to get done, but several of them were psychology courses. I was taking theories of personality. I was taking child development, which the only reason I was taking that one was because we needed a writing intensive class, but it just so happened to also be like a psychology, a lot of psychology in that class. And then I was also taking wellness and alternative medicine, because I was just kind of curious what all that was about, because the school I went to was one of the few places in the country at the time that offered a wellness and alternative medicine degree. So, and as I went through those courses, it just really started to stir a lot of stuff up for me, a lot of stuff that I'd been suppressing, that I'd been struggling with, but just didn't realize it. Day to day, there was just, fluctuations in my mood. And, looking back now, I mean, there must have been even more as the weather cooled off and it got darker. If you don't live in Vermont, there's not a whole lot of sunshine between, like, I don't know, October and March or something like that. So it gets a lot tougher if you have depression in particular. So usually people will increase their medication if you take medication and whatnot. So, I've had that same experience, because I am by nature an introvert myself. And like I said, personal trainers are usually looked at as like extroverted individuals, outspoken, fun. And I really had to take some time to develop my own, not develop my personality, but to allow myself to be more comfortable, like you said, not care as much about being judged or something like that with the people around you. I was always like kind of a little more outgoing around people I knew and was comfortable with. It just took me a while to develop the ability to allow that to come out around other people that maybe I didn't know quite so well. And I think it's helped. I don't know about you, but from what I've experienced, it's helped a lot with helping people that are nervous and afraid of coming to the gym, potential clients, whatnot, feel more comfortable and at ease. If they see you like making a silly mistake of some kind, then it's like, oh wow, and it allows them to relax. Have you had that same sort of experience yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think while we're talking about stigma and stereotypes, there's this persona with personal trainers that we're supposed to be super cool. I mean, I'm super cool, but sometimes people will come in and they see us and we're like maybe racking some weights, doing something intense, and I'll be at the gym squatting and it'll be like 200 pounds in the bar, and my trainer friend will be, Emily, what are you listening to in there? And I'll be like, oh, Celine Dion. What the heck? I just do what I want. I think clients kind of gravitate towards that. I think the other thing too is that, I'm not sure if you felt this, but because I've been more myself, the clients that naturally gravitate towards me and my service kind of match me.
Yeah.
I train so many people that have their own like insecurities and anxieties, and they'll come to me, and it's almost like this is a safe space. This is a home where I can come be myself, my clients can come be themselves, and then we all work out together.
Yep.
They work out, I watch, whatever.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And I have had that same experience, because I have a good variety of different personalities and people of different backgrounds. And me myself, when I was a kid, I was kind of nerdy, like I liked my video games, and I liked playing like, I don't know, card games with my buddies. But then at the same time, I played a lot of sports, and so I hung out with a lot of different people. Not to say I was a cool kid by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah. So I mean, I have a good amount of people that maybe have never worked out in their lives, maybe never grew up playing sports or done anything athletic in their lives, but now realize the value of staying active